Hello. Welcome. This is helping some students with their work. This is how to get like some intermediate slash advanced techniques on Substance Designer Painter, and this is how to do jerry can or how to apply a technique which I call the texture machine onto something. Texture machine is essentially uh, a stack of um, of processes that we use very much like a formula in order to get the result. It's a bit like making cookies, you know. So if you want to make a cookie, you need to add flour, butter, sugar, chocolate chips, mix them up, put them in the oven, and even though they're not really terribly hard to make, you really cannot mess up that order, otherwise you'll end up with something else. And the same thing is when we're texturing something, anything, and especially objects, props, and this is what we have. Let me just come here, and here we go. So this is a little bit my personal cheat sheet when I'm creating this formula, which is we create a base material, we add some variations, color, value like black and white, roughness. Then we add some gradients. Objects are perceived to be lighter on the top and darker on the bottom, so we do this. Then we add some curvature, some edge highlights, some curvature, some dirt. And then we try to ask these two questions. How has the object been used and where has it been? And this is what I normally use for blending layers. So roughness variation, I have here a D, it's dark, so I normally use normal multiply. Here, gradients light dark. I use screen overlay, color dodge, and slatten. I can't remember. I use this ones. And here we go: dirt, darken, curvature, lighten, edge highlights, lighten. And then, depending on the story we want to tell, where has the object been, how has it been used, we do that. So right now I have some jerry cans here, and I think I'm going to use this ones here a little bit as a reference. Maybe mainly this green one here. It's my favorite because it has some dust on the top, and we can actually add a little bit of story. We can actually see this one here has been abandoned, forgotten, used a lot, not been very well respected, as we can see on how, how there's like rust and on the paint being peeled away. This one here looks very shiny with a very nice coat of paint, very acrylic. So let's start. So the first thing I'm going to do is everything is already baked here. So I'm just going to look for a nice base material, and I'm going to type plastic. And here we go. Sci-fi smooth vinyl. Seems very shiny, has a nice sheen to it. Um, let's start. Okay. So let's make some changes onto it, and let's come here and put this one here on medium. And first things first, I'm not a big fan of this color. I did like that really bright red. So let's start with the red. But you guys put any color as you wish. And there's like some extra stuff here, but no, to be honest, I'm not even going to start with this sci-fi smooth vinyl. I'm just going to delete it and add a new fill layer. For the fill layer, I'm going to add some nice bright red. I'm not going to use a height, so I'm going to disconnect it. There is no metal here for now, so I'm going to deactivate the metal. And normal, I'm not adding any normal color or any height, so should be just like this. And roughness, I think I want to make it even glossier, so something like, yeah, I think this is a good initial roughness. So this is how it would be at its most pristine. So I'm going to call this the base material, and I'm going to group it to itself, change the layer to pass through in case I want to come back and change this layer to red. and call this one base material. Okay, and let me just correct this. So now I'm going to add some variations. So the first thing I want to add is some roughness variation. For that, I do enjoy grunges. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick up here, go to my textures tab, type grunge, and I have all of these ones, and I'm going to add here a new fill layer. I'm going to come here to the roughness channel, press Alt click, so we only have a roughness. And as you can see now, we can just have a new control over the roughness, but we want to add this in a more roughness way. So here on my layers tab, I'm going to change base color to roughness so I can start working on the roughness. And this fill layer, I'm going to call it roughness variation. And let's see, I want something with maybe something with midtones. Grunge leak large. Let's try this one here. And automatically can already tell that there is, but I don't think this is good enough. Let me try to change the UV projection to triplanar. So also remember to use triplanar projection, because when you're using a UV projection is best for tiling texture, stream sheets. Triplanar is always good when you're having something like this. I'm not much of a fan of this one. Let me try something else. Maybe this one. No, I think I want something a little bit more grainy, sandy, and maybe with a higher roughness. Maybe with some really contrasting colors. Let's try Grunge Map 15. No, let's try to invert it. No, I want something definitely very bright with some dark spots. Let's try this. Actually this one here, Grunge Map 08. Invert. No, I don't like it too. So let's try this one. No, not a fan. Let's try this one. Okay, this is more like it. A little bit matte, some dirt. I'm going for this one. And I actually want to add some spots to it. So for it, I'm going to come here, add a black mask. And on my black mask, I'm going to add a fill layer. And on this fill layer, I'm just going to put this one here and invert the color. So seed, UV projection, triplanar, and here we go. Invert. Yeah, this is more like it. So I already get this kind of texture, and using a mask, I can actually get this more of this. Let's change this to multiply. No, multiply definitely not normal, and yeah, just adjust the layer to get something more like this. I think I'm going to do the base material here, and the roughness, I think I'm going to drop it down. And now this one, I'm going to increase it to something to get a little bit highs and lows to feel that it has some dirt. So this is how we create a roughness material. So we have here a roughness variation. So it feels like it has some grease to it, adds a little bit more personality. It's just not brand new anymore. So the next thing, I'm going to change from roughness to base color, and I'm going to add a little bit of color variation, some just not to have this kind of red all the time. For that, I'm going to add. No, I think I'm going to start with some values, just to get some spots. So I'm going to add a fill layer, drag it all the way here, and just control click base color, and I'm just going to drag something here that has a little bit of contrast. I'm going to look for something that has high contrast. So I'm a big fan of this one here. I'm going to try this one here. Okay, perfect. I'm going to change this to triplanar, and I'm going to change the fill layer to multiply. Perfect. It looks horrible, but it's to be expected. I don't want this to be 100%. More like maybe 30%. Yeah, 30%. So as you can see, this is a little bit of an invisible detail. So it's just to add some variation, some blacks and whites, something. Maybe I think I can actually even a little bit more. Yeah, less is more, but sometimes we can actually be. So this already makes it a little bit more varied, just feels a little bit more human, I guess, a little bit more usable. So I'm going to call this value variation because I'm just adding some lights and darks, and now I'm going to do exactly the same for the color. So I'm going to add another base color. I'm going to call it color variation, and base color, I'm going to just add essentially the grunge map 07 as well. Was this, did I use the, no, I used 15. Never repeat your grunge maps. Triplanar. Okay, this is good enough. I think it's pretty chaotic. And what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to just come to this one. First of all, let me name this to color variation. And now I'm going to right mouse click here and add a filter. So if you guys are wondering what's the difference between filters and smart materials, and generators, is that filters function very much like Photoshop, so levels, curves, anything, and generators are essentially smart masks. We'll look into those soon. So I'm coming here, my triplanar. Here we go, filter empty. I just want to affect the color. So again, just get the color selected, and I want the gradients. So I believe it's this one. It's this one, and I'm just going to pick up three colors here to my reference. Something that is has very something that has very dark values, some very dark red, maybe almost like brownish. So something like this. Let's get something like so. Yep, I like this. And something a little bit more pale. So something maybe almost this way. And now a really light color, almost like a highlight. Something very much like this, very pink. So as you can see, this in and of itself doesn't look very nice. It actually looks kind of bad. So I'm just coming here and find some nice blend layers. So linear dodge, I like this one. Just blends nice. And now I'm going to dial this down to almost invisible. So maybe this much. Yeah, 13%. And yep, just adds that extra tint that we didn't have before. So we just had some nice variation to this, and I'm going to group these ones. And look what happens when I group them. Everything disappeared, everything turned different. Why did it happen? If you notice here, norm, this is the blend layer mode of this whole folder. And this folder overrides all the blending modes that I used on my previous fill layers. So to get the fill layers back, I'm going to change from normal to pass-through, and boom, here we go. I'm going to call this variations, and I'm going to change this to orange and move forward. So after variations, what can we do next? I think we can go, maybe I'll leave the gradients to almost to the very end, and I'm going to start playing around with the curvature. So why do we play around with curvature? Essentially, edges, rounded edges try to accumulate damage, so they become a little bit lighter, and concave surfaces tend to accumulate dirt. And we always can add a little extra realism by getting that around. So I'm going to start by getting a dirt mask. So I'm going to create a new fill layer, and I just want to change the color. And now I'm going to change this to, since I'm using red, I'm going to use here a blue, something that contrasts very nicely with red. Maybe even green, since green is complementary. So a very nice slimy green. And I'm going to add a black mask. And on this black mask, now I'm adding a generator. And this generator, I want dirt. So what we have here, dirt. And now, as you can see, there's all this kind of almost toxic waves for dirt. It's definitely too much. I don't want this much. I want just a tiny bit on where dirt should be accumulated. And this is actually doing a very good. If we look at the references, we can actually see that the smart mask sort of gets it almost right where dirt normally is. Obviously, there's also dust setting in, but we'll get to that later because that's more on the environment more than this kind of stuff. So now for dirt, dirt is normally something I see maybe something a little bit more rusty. So here I'm going to just map a grunge, something very mid-tony. So I'm just going to add this, and it looks better already, but I think we can do a little bit better. For that, I'm going to add a filter. Obviously, I just want color, and I'm going to set a gradient map, and I'm going to choose three sort of brownish colors from my reference, something like this. This and this. Okay, I think this is good enough. Just makes a good mapping. I'm going to change this to multiply to get even. No, I don't like multiply. Maybe normal multiply just gets too dark and we lose some of that strength. Let me just come here to my layer and change this to triplanar. So here we go. UV projection, triplanar. Play around, just gets a nice graininess going on. A little good graininess, as you can see, just very slight. And I'm going to call this one dirt. So now we're going to add some edges, something like very bold. So I'm going to come here, and again, I just want to affect the color, so I'll click, and I'm going to get like a nice limey green, and I'm going to add a black mask, so add black mask, and on the black mask, I'm going to add a generator, and I just want to type curvature, and boom, this is, again, enhances, but it's definitely too much. So I'm just coming here to the curvature and global balance. I think it's balance, yeah. Just and global blur. Yeah, no, this is definitely too much. We want something. Okay, let's leave it like this for now. And no, this is definitely too much. We want something very, very slight, something like this, just to add a little bit of a discrete, something very discrete. I think, again, less is more. It's a nice contrast, but I think I'm going to change this to something like for this kind of very white grunge. And I'm going to change it to triplanar to get it a little bit grainier. And fill layer, okay. And I'm going to change this maybe to overlay. No, screen. Color dodge. I think color dodge is pretty decent. Yeah, I like color dodge. It's very discreet, so I think I can even come here to the curvature and add some balance. Oh, perfect. So you don't notice it, but it's there. This is exactly the point we want. It's there, but it's not. This is the balance. So I'm going to call this curvature. And I normally like to always add a metal edgeware, so I'm going to do exactly the same. Add another fill layer. Just come here and come here, color, and I'm just going to come here again, get a nice limey green, boom, add black mask, boom, and now here on the black mask I'm going to add a generator, and I'm just going to type metal and put here metal edgeware. Okay, I really like this one because it's a little bit, has a bit more texture than the curvature, and it just adds something on top of it that is just a little bit more intense. So let's get something. Looking at my reference here, I just want something slightly more used, something maybe like this. I think this is good. And for the damage, I want something very contrasty, so I'm going to change the texture for something like this. And I'm going to add a filter color, so I can actually use some nice gradients, always a bit on the monochromatic so things pass a bit through. Let me just find here something more interesting. Yeah, I think this, I just found here some nice colors. So just get something around here, something a bit lighter. So something, yeah, something like this. And this white doesn't need to be pure white. Something very pale, but okay. So something like this. And now here, let's find a nice blending layer. I think linear dodge is good. It's very, again, let me just reduce it a little bit, and this one here, yeah, leave it 30, 48 again, and I'm going to call this edgeware. So, and again, I'm going to group this one, so Control G, and I call this one curvature. And I'm going to add some color to it so I can identify. So, right, and now this is what we achieved so far. If we actually remove it, see, it doesn't seem much, but it adds personality to it. So now we're going to add some gradients. So gradients, darker on bottom, lighter on top. So I'm going to come here, add a black mask. Oh, change this to color only, nice slimy green as well. And here on the fill layer, just a generator. On the generator, I'm going to type position. Okay. And as you can see, boom, adds a gradient, and I'm going to just increase the global contrast to maximum, leave it around here. And since I'm going to use two gradients, one for the bottom and another for the top, this is a great time for me to just duplicate this layer, hide it, come here, and to the position layer, I'm going to do a global invert and a global balance. I want it to be low, just very small, very small. And here you go. Is it global contrast? Yeah. So something around here, very, very, very tiny. Maybe this. And I don't want this to be this linear. I want something a little bit more grungy, as usual. So I'm going for something. Let me try this one here. The smudgy soft. Yeah, perfect. I love it. Let me just change this to triplanar. Even better, actually. Very. And let me just change this to multiply. Yeah, I like the effect. I could change the colors for some darker browns, which I think I'm going to do. For that, I'm just coming here again, add filter, color, and gradient, and I'm just going to get here three nice tones of brown, something very dark, almost black, but never really black. something a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit on the blue. And for the white, nothing white because this is very something here on the brown. And I'm going to put it normal because I think no, I think multiply, or maybe no, not divide, normal. Maybe this blue can be, let's make them a little bit darker from RGB ASV, so we can actually turn the value a little bit lower. The same here, bit lower the value, and definitely here the same, almost black but not quite. So something like this, very discreet. I love it. So I'm going to call this bottom gradient, and I'm going to change this a little bit, maybe 50, something like this. Just invisible. It's there. It's almost like it's a subliminal suggestion. Now let's go to our top and do exactly the same. Come here to position, play around with the global balance. I think here maybe a little bit lower, global contrast, yeah, and maybe even, yeah. And I think I'm going to do the same. Select here the material, change from UV projection to triplanar, and here on the base color something dusty. So maybe white grainy. Okay, I'll buy it. Okay, let's see what we get here. Perfect. Now I want something even whiter, maybe something like this, and I think I'm going to add some highlights here. So I'm going to come here again, add filter, color, filter, gradient, select three colors that, okay, this would be the darker, something that is a little bit on the pink side, something a little bit here, and then the white, doesn't have to be white, but something around here as well. So just to give this, let's try a nice blending layer, something that oh, linear dodge, perfect. And now let's just again 29%, perfect. So just very, and we're already starting to get a little bit of personality here, yeah. So top gradient, and I'm going to again group these two, Control G, we lose the multiplication, so pass through and gradients. Okay, I'm going to call this one here green, and now the environment. We have some dust on top that's settled in. For that, let me just get a white layer, color, and again, so let's leave it at white right now. Black mask. We add a black mask, and here we add a generator. On the generator, let's try light. Here we go, light. And what the light does is just simulates a ray of sunshine, but in this case, we just want it to fixate, and it just adds like if it's just a puddle of dust. So actually, since this also has a bit of a texture, I think I'm going to copy this generator. I'm going to copy the effect, and I'm going to just group this to itself, add a black mask, and then I think it's paste effect, yep, and then I'm just going to remove it straight from here and remove this mask, clear mask, remove mask, yep, and now we get, I want this effect to be on a folder rather than on this material, because dust, it's not only a color, it's also have a bit of a texture, and for that I prefer to use two layers. So let's take care of the color first, and for the for the base color, a little bit of a grunge, something something that is random. This is a good one. Perfect. No, let's try this one. No, I think I prefer this one. Base color and UV projection, triplanar. Okay. And I don't think we really. Oh yeah, we need a little bit of a color. So I'm going to add a filter, color, and gradient. And here I'm going to select some nice from some nice browns. And we start getting this kind of dust feel. Yeah, just get a little bit of dust going on. And I'm going to call this one dust value, dust color. Okay, and let's see if we can find some nice blend. Linear dodge, why not? And let's let's leave it like this. And now on top of this, I just want a height layer. For the height, what I normally do is I leave the height alone. I don't put anything here. I'm going to leave this layer alone. I'm going to add a black mask, and on this black mask, I'm going to get a sandy texture, something like perfect, wipe smudgy soft. So I'm just going to drag this one here, and nothing has happened. I'm going to change this to triplanar as well. And now I'm going back to the main layer, and I'm just going to see. And now we can actually just play around with the strength. This is super CG and I hate it. Something around this much. Yep, it just really gives a nice sandy feel to it. So I'm going to call this one here environment. And just give it this color. And now I'm going to add, oops, and change this to, no, it was normal. Or was it pass through? No, it was normal. No, it was pass through actually, because I did use the linear dodge for the colors, so it's definitely pass through. Now, for the usage, I'm going to try to replicate a little bit of this bumpiness. So, how am I going to go about it? Maybe sprinkle a little bit of this. So let me go and get a new layer, a new fill layer, and just add color and add a black mask. For that black mask, I'm going to just add this. Let me change this to triplanar and tiling. Let's get this done. Okay, perfect. I don't want as much as this. I want less, so I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to group this onto itself. And on this one, I'm going to add a black mask, change this to pass through. And on this black mask, I want something very contrasty, maybe something like this. And now the patchiness is under control. So we have some, not a lot. Let me just try to invert. Invert, no. And play around with the balance so we don't get that. Okay, this is good enough. And for this, I think I'm going to use this material base color. For the base color, I think I'm going to add a filter. And the filter, I literally just want color. For the color, I'll use a gradient, and I'm going to add some rust to it. So I want the rest to be something like this, and add more rust. And okay, this is good enough. I'm going to duplicate this layer. Probably should use anchor points, but I don't want to overburden you guys, and it would make things slower. I'm very slight using anchor points. I'm just going to use gradients, and here I'm going to delete the gradients, change this fill layer from color to height, and just bring the height a little bit lower, like so. Maybe it's too much, even less, something like this, so we can have the some very discrete height. So this fill layer, so this is the color. For this color I want, what was it, which one? No, this is the height. Here we go. For this I want this base color. Yep. And the base color has the gradient. So let's just get the gradient again, because I don't know if I got it. Not add filter, filter color, and gradient, and here we go. So we want for the darker, for the most of the colors, I want just this kind of really rusty, this rust, and then something a bit stronger, maybe something. Here we go. Saturation and value, and here mid-tone, something like this. Okay, so we got it's here, maybe yep, some color, and here let's try multiply to get it even. No, multiply definitely not. Let's see if we have something here that makes, I think normal is definitely the best. Something like so. Okay, so of course you guys will have to work a little bit better. I don't intend to overburn this with a very long class, so I'll just type here usage and place it with this color. Okay, so after this you guys can create and add some extra stuff, but this is the jerry can, and I hope you find it useful, and I hope you have learned something from this. Thank you very much. Until next time.